They've lost their bonuses, their private jets, and now some of those Wall Street millionaires that you've been bailing out are panicking because of our exclusive investigative report that you're about to see. Among the perks of their high-flying lifestyle is a hidden pleasure, the kind this woman knows about, charged to their corporate credit cards. Chief Investigative Correspondent Brian Ross is the first to bring you the inside story.
This is the untold story of a secretive Wall Street business known only to a wealthy elite. A multi-million-dollar business now shut down by authorities called Davis Investments.
This was a very big business.
Business was extremely busy, extremely busy.
33-year-old Kristen Davis started Davis Investments after being fired from a hedge fund and went on to become a millionaire, an unlikely corporate boss who offered a product with unique investment dividends.
It's investment in your fun and your happiness.
Have you heard from any of your clients since your arrest?
Not one.
No surprise. Davis Investments was just a front used by Kristen Davis to run what was one of New York's biggest prostitution operations.
Hello.
A virtual conglomerate, each subsidiary with its own website and set of girls and customers. Wicked Models, advertised as an upscale agency featuring women who could speak 2 languages and had bachelor's degrees. Dream Girls, Candy's Room, Girls of Eve's Garden, all owned by Kristen Davis, the Wall Street madam.
The art of it is that we market it to different price points.
Same girls?
Same girls, different names. On the websites, different pictures. It's all marketing.
So you applied all the business acumen you had picked up working on Wall Street to your
That's correct.
Wall Street madam job.
That's correct. I can sell you the same girl with 5 different descriptions. You might choose the Ivy Leaguer who grew up a socialite, or you might choose the girl from Kentucky. It's all the same girl.
And at the very high end was what was called Carlyle Trust, mimicking the name of a prestigious investment firm, offering fashion models supposedly fresh from the runways of New York and Paris. When she started, Davis says she would make the rounds of New York's top clubs and night spots with some of her best girls along, setting the bait for the city's movers and shakers.
You get a table, people might come up to you and start talking, what do you do and this sort of thing, and I'm pretty honest. I just say, hey, I'm running an escort agency, here's a card.
The best little whorehouse on Wall Street was on William Street, just a few blocks from the New York Stock Exchange. This is where dozens of top lawyers and bankers and traders came every week, down the hall to apartment 3A, for what are known in the trade as in-calls.
I was displaced from my apartment virtually from 9:30 in the morning till midnight.
With men coming there to have sex?
Yes.
The other half of the business, she says, the outcalls, were at some of the city's finest hotels, including the Carlyle and the Mandarin Oriental.
Did you ever think, I'm going to get arrested?
I always thought that I would fly under the radar because of the way that I set the business up.
The incoming phone calls were actually routed to Montevideo, Uruguay, and operators at a low-cost telephone answering service there. And Davis's little black book was actually a computer program that she used to meticulously keep track of some 9,800 clients with their phone numbers, credit card numbers, and any special requirements.
And you're going to show us the list.
I'm going to show you the list.
The secret list that this week has shaken up bankers and lawyers on Wall Street. Among the names we found, the part owner of a Major League Baseball team who, quote, loves Kelsey. The head of one of the country's biggest private equity firms who met Cameron at the Peninsula Hotel. A vice president of NBC Universal. A senior partner at the Wall Street law firm, Cravath Swaine Moore, who was looking for a party girl to come fully equipped. An investment banker at Goldman Sachs who only wanted all-American girls and spent $27,000. Investment bankers from Lehman Brothers, Merrill Lynch, and Deutsche Bank USA. And a major New York real estate developer who the girls were warned will come to the door wearing women's panties.
Some of these guys I was invoicing on corporate cards. I was writing up monthly bills for computer consulting, construction expenses, so they could get it by their accountant.
Billed to the company?
Yes.
for prostitutes.
Correct.
Clients who paid by credit card would only see charges for Davis investments on their monthly statements. Some of the men we talked to denied using their corporate cards, but for those who did, it could be its own crime, according to former New York prosecutor Sid Baumgarten.
That actually would be a felony, because you're not only falsifying the records, you're doing it to cover up a crime.
During the go-go days of Wall Street, Kristin Davis's business boomed. But it all came to a screeching halt last year, when then New York Governor Eliot Spitzer was identified as client number 9 of a rival escort service in New York.
Good afternoon.
In the resulting crackdown, police arrested Davis and raided her escort service conglomerate. But when she sought to negotiate a plea deal, she says the Manhattan district attorney had no interest in pursuing her list of Wall Street's rich and powerful.
Did the district attorney ask you about any of that?
No.
No interest?
No interest. I, as the proprietor of a business, get arrested and lose everything when no one that was frequenting my business or spending $200,000, $300,000 a year has been punished in any way or even looked into.
A spokesman for Manhattan District Attorney Robert Morgenthau said the office had no comment on the handling of the Davis case or its failure to pursue the allegations of misuse of corporate money.
I think it was worthy of investigating further. Not necessarily just for the patronizing, but for the use of these business records and credit cards to see what kind of fraud or tax fraud was being used. And if so, that is a major offense.
But as is almost always the case, the men went free and the women went to jail. Kristin Davis spent 3 months behind bars, but avoided further prison time by forfeiting her profits, some $500,000. What she was able to keep was her client list, and now she's writing a book, telling all.
I don't want to ruin anyone's life, but I want people to be aware of the power that these people wield and how somebody like me, who's chump change compared to a billionaire, gets everything taken, but this person is committing the same sort of crimes just walking around on the street.